Go for it. Have at it. Yes, that is Tom, and this is Mrs. Beer. Mrs. Beer. She's 30. 20, sorry, 27 or something, I don't know. It's not her birthday yet, so.
Which time 20?
Yeah, how many times have you been 20? All right, let's give it a few minutes and let some people come in, huh? We're almost there. We have a guest today. The always arrogant. The always happy-go-lucky Mr. Tom.
To the right of Genghis Khan.
Kun Tom ma leo? Oh. And his wife said to him, "Honey, I no forget you. I did not forget you, dear." So how long did you get to see her for?
An hour in the car plus a half hour at home. She's getting ready to go make a business presentation.
All right, so the private time has to wait a little while. Oh, well, you waited 8 months.
If she didn't have to go out, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. All right, so here we are. And I am Scott. I'm an American in Bangkok all day long. I'll be here for a little while. Hello everybody, Swadee Cup, and all that good stuff. Like I said, we have a special guest today. My pal Tom is here, who, I didn't know it, I thought he was out yesterday, but he just got out of quarantine at 6 o'clock this morning. So he's only been out for what now? What's that, 3 hours?
Yeah.
And what have you been doing for those 3 hours?
Traveling on the roads.
Traveling on the roads. Oh, where was your hotel?
Quarantine hotel was just south of the airport.
Can you name the hotel? Are you allowed, or is that top
H5,
secret?
H5.
H5.
H5 luxury hotel.
And was it a luxury hotel?
It was an average Thai.
3-star, 4-star?
Three-star middle class weekend resort.
So it was good enough.
It was good. It was clean. Food was okay. Everything was delivered to the room. Yeah.
And you weren't allowed to go out, go to the swimming pool or anything like that?
Oh no. The first 3 days I had to stay in my room.
We got one other guy in the chat right now, Dre, who he just got out of quarantine. Also, he's an American he's also married to a Thai, and he just got out. I don't know if he's still in Bangkok or where he is, but yeah, he just came into the chat, so.
Third day they administer the COVID-19 test.
Right.
The day after that, when you pass, they give you the yellow badge.
Well, start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning, because you left like 8 months ago, right? You split like 8 months ago, and you were only supposed to be gone for
2 months.
For 2 months. You told your wife, "Honey, I'll be back in 2 months.
Yep.
See you later."
My My wife and I alternate years. One year she'll go with me, and the next year she'll stay home and attend to her family. And this was the year without her. So while I was gone, her mom was diagnosed with stage 3 pancreatic liver cancer. So she's been dealing and managing that while I've been in the States managing my mom's health.
So you got stuck there,
Yep.
and how did that go over? Couldn't you like just when you found out, didn't you think I better get back?
Nah.
You didn't think it would be that bad,
No.
you just didn't care.
I had a place to stay. You know, I was there.
You weren't in a hurry.
I was there to take care of my mom after she had some shoulder replacement surgery. And so, you know, I hadn't hung around her that much, so I just decided I got a place to stay, so just stay. Yeah.
1 second. Can everybody? You can't hear what he's saying. All right, well, that sucks.
Oh, that sucks.
Let me see here if I can.
Ask them to turn the music down.
They probably won't. เอ้ยคุณครับก็บิดเสียงหน่อยได้ไหมบิดเสียงหน่อยได้ไหม I don't know if they can. Say something.
Can anybody hear me? Can everybody see me?
Something.
Something.
Can you hear us both now? I'm trying to move the mic closer to him, but I don't have the other mic with me.
Yeah.
I can, but I turn volume up. Okay, so turn the volume up, guys. It might be a little hard to hear because we don't want to sit that close to each other.
I'll try to speak up too.
Yeah. We're gonna have to talk really loud. Thank you. Hopefully, it doesn't sound like they turned it down, but I don't think they're allowed to or they can't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but okay. So you're back home. You get stuck. You're in northern Florida.
Central Florida.
Central Florida, sorry. You get stuck there. And when you first started thinking about coming here, what was your procedure? What did you do? What did you think about? Where did you go? You know, give me the breakdown.
My first concern was my airline ticket because I've lived in Thailand 20 years, so I originated my ticket from Bangkok to Tampa and back.
Right. Round trip.
Round trip. So I had my return flight waiting for me. So
Now you went from Tampa to where?
well, I flew Delta, so I mean I had choices of Atlanta, Detroit, LA.
So how did you fly?
I actually went Atlanta.
You went to Atlanta. So Dre, he went to Atlanta. Where did you go through? Because the other guy, like he's in here, so I'd like to know where what his route was. Because he said, oh, maybe we're on the same flight, or you know.
I arrived in Bangkok on the 30th of September.
Orlando to Chicago.
Okay, I could have gone through Chicago, but I didn't.
Okay, so Chicago to Qatar.
No, you didn't fly.
You
Delta.
went Atlanta to
I flew Delta.
Delta, sorry, and went Atlanta to where?
Korea, Incheon, Korea.
Okay, yeah, and then you just came right to here. Okay,
Right.
so what was the procedure? Give me the whole breakdown.
Well,
Inquiring minds would like to know.
month by month, I extended my Delta flight return month by month because there were no rules in place back in March, April, May.
About
June.
the flights that you had
About
to
anything,
take.
about
Right.
anything.
Yeah.
Thailand was in total lockdown until about July. And
Right.
so in July, I think it was July, they announced repatriation of Thais and spouses of foreigners.
Mm-hmm.
So I started the process in mid-July to repatriate with family.
Okay.
And to do that, I had to first renew my visa because my visa was expiring in September. So I got a new visa, and then with the new
They gave you a new visa in September.
yes,
Or that was a brand new visa.
brand new,
Right.
non-immigrant, multiple,
Right.
1 year, multiple entry.
So he's married to a Thai.
right.
Okay.
Well, just to let you know, back in May and June, I wrote an email to the Thai embassy telling them that my visa was going to expire in September. Could I reapply for a new visa? And at that time, in May and June, they said, no, we are not accepting visa applications.
So you just waited.
So I just waited.
Right, because, you know,
Yeah. And so
you had till September anyway.
yeah, so mid to late August, I asked the same question, and they said, yes, apply now. So I started the process to renew my visa in in August, late August, and it was approved in, I don't know, the first week of September.
Okay.
With the visa, then once you had a visa, I was allowed.
Now, that visa was only good for 3 months?
No, I got a 1 year multiple entry. It's $200.
Okay. So you got a 1 year multiple entry starting from the day you enter or starting from the day they gave you the visa? They approved the visa.
The visa is good for 1 year from the day it's issued.
Okay, right.
Yes.
Okay, so that's something to consider.
Well, the stay in Thailand is good 90 days from the date of entry.
Right.
So if it were issued on, I don't know, September 7th, 2000, then I could enter the country as late as September, 5th, 2001, and then I'd have 90 days beyond that to stay in the country. That's the way visas work.
Yeah.
So anyway, with new visa issued, the Thai embassy opened up a web form for me to apply for what they're calling a certificate of entry.
Right.
The certificate of entry has a lot of hoops that you got to jump through. You got to demonstrate with receipt that you've prepaid for health insurance of a value of $100,000 valid for as long as you're going to be in the country. My visa allows me to stay in the country for 90 days.
Uh-huh.
But I decided to get a whole year
Because you're planning on staying anyway.
I plan on re-entry throughout my year.
Right.
And it was valuable. It was a good value compared.
Well,
to
how much was the insurance, and what insurance company?
I don't remember. I had to look it up. And I have it here, but we'll do it later. It was about $1,300 for all 364 days.
Okay.
Okay. So that's a better value than I was getting buying it domestically here in Thailand.
Right.
So I just decided to hold it.
Okay. So you have that.
Yeah.
Then you got to pay for your hotel.
Then I had to make a reservation for and prepay for my hotel.
Right.
Then I had to demonstrate that I had my airplane ticket.
Which you already had.
Well.
Oh no, you didn't have that because.
I had my return ticket. The Thai embassy through the re-entry program had a list of authorized charter flights that they're allowing Thais and foreigners to repatriate to Thailand on.
Right.
Korean Air.
Yeah.
Emirates Air.
Delta.
No, not Delta.
I thought
Korean
Delta
Air.
is.
No.
Oh, that's because
They're
they're
both-
one of Delta's partners.
No. The charter flights are managed through monopoly travel agents. And you can only buy the ticket through the travel agent.
I see.
And the travel agent would not accept my Delta issued flight ticket. If I had paid more for my ticket through Korean Air, they could have managed a credit value on it. But because it was bought through Delta, not Korean, although they co-share, the accounting doesn't match up.
Right.
So
Okay.
so what I did in the end, Delta was offering, and they were offering a credit on the return flight.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been putting that off, but I realized that was the best value I was going to get was a cash credit on my Delta account.
So they gave you that.
So I have a $600 or so credit sitting on my Delta account
Okay.
that I can use some other time to go fly the States.
Yeah.
And I paid $1,300 more or less.
One way.
One way for my Atlanta to Bangkok travel, which meant I also had to get from Tampa to Atlanta on my own nickel. And since that was a domestic flight, not connecting ticket-wise to an international flight, means I had to check my bags in, get my domestic bags, then pick them up, recheck them in at the international counter, and there was only a 2-hour layover from Tampa to Atlanta, so I flew the night
You didn't think
before.
about driving?
I did. I thought about renting a car,
Oh.
and I just decided, nah.
So you got a ticket. How much was the ticket for
I
the?
used my miles, 7,000 miles. So that was the other thing.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
7,000 miles?
One way, 7,000
And
miles.
who did you fly with?
Delta.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I have Delta miles also.
Yeah, I used Delta miles to get me one way to Atlanta. Picked up my bags. Slept in the airport like I've done many times in my life.
Yeah.
Was first in line, and that was an interesting screening at the Korean Air check-in. Korean Air check-in representative, the check-in clerks, were complaining about the variable information, they had been getting variable directives
Right.
that they've been getting from the Thai government on what they were
So
supposed
let's
to ask
let's
for.
stop right there.
Yeah.
Let's stop right there. The variable
Directives.
the variable directives
Inconsistent.
are and the inconsistencies here in Thailand are one of the many reasons that have that foreigners are rather irritated, whether they're expats living here, whether they're tourists, or whether they're just someone trying to come into the country, however they're trying to come in. It's these variable directives. They don't have one set of rules that they apply across the board. Everybody has to do it. They've changed it, so you never quite know. Everything depends on where you are, the time of day, the person you're speaking to, and that's pretty much how it is, you know. So yeah, that's something to think about. Now, before I go any further, I want to, thank you, Tom, for being here. We'll go into things a little bit more. Let him have a couple swigs of coffee, because I'm sure he's exhausted by now after just being through that quarantine process. But I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us, and what else? If you haven't already, please click like. I gotta say all this stuff, unfortunately, but remind people, please click like, share, leave a comment later on if you want to. Thank you. Yes, it is my birthday today. I've kind of got over it now at this point, because tonight maybe I'll do a little something with the kids, whether it's a little cake or okay, he's showing me his coronavirus test. You better not lose those. And I better not get corona like tomorrow. All of a sudden I start feeling sick because I'm sitting next to you. So you're getting a false negative. But thank you very much, and thank you for everybody who contributes. So thank you to my Patreon patrons and all those others who yesterday contributed and always contribute and help me continue to keep rolling along. I really appreciate it. Everything's in the description. Pretty much whatever you need is in the description. If you need to contact me, whatever. So thank you very much. You want a t-shirt? Thank you to whoever, the guy who bought the t-shirt yesterday, the American in Bangkok. Appreciate that. Yeah, so let's move forward here. Let me get back to Tom. He's looking through his papers right now.
Just a reminder.
He's trying to remember some things,
I'm
but
not Amy Coney Barrett who can do it.
who can do it without a notepad. By the way, we got beer, and I don't know who this guy is that's here. He's some guy taking Preo's place because today is her day off. So it's kind of the A team -1. Anyway, so all right. So where are we at now? We're
Well, let me back up to that entry
Yes.
certificate. It's been taken, so I don't have a printed copy of it.
uh-huh.
But I had to submit online information into what they call a declaration form. It's 3 pages that include my birth date, lots of reasonable questions about addresses and contact and where I'm going to stay and why I'm applying to be in Thailand.
Why are you applying?
Well, my reason was because I have a spouse and her mother is ill with cancer, and my
Right.
family had asked me to help take care,
Right.
and I included a doctor's certificate about my mother.
Now, would if you had just said, I mean, I know Dre got in here, he's married, and he got in with his wife. They both were able to come in at the same time. But if you had not said, well, I want to take care of my wife's mother, do you think you would have had any problems, or would you just got in?
I probably wouldn't have had any problems, but I was going.
You never know.
I was going by the instructions on the Thai embassy website. They said that certificates of entry would be granted on a humanitarian and urgency basis. And so by including the information about the health care for my mother-in-law, I figured I would be lifted up above maybe somebody who would be coming just because they wanted to come to Thailand and be with their spouse. So,
Right.
So
Although that is to say just coming in to see your spot, that kind of puts
that's
things in.
belittling, and I didn't mean it.
No, I know you didn't mean that, but that's probably how they think. You know, it's kind of like, well, yeah, you're married, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can
Yeah.
come in. It's the same way in the United States.
Yeah.
Just because you're married to somebody in the U.S. doesn't mean they're going to allow somebody who's not a citizen to come into the country. So, you know.
So I had to fill out the form. I had to present them with proof of insurance, and this is the insurance.
I don't know if you want to show that,
Yeah.
but.
It's TOKIO Marine H.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
TOKIO. Yeah, yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, and that's who I bought my insurance through. It was $1,238 for $100,000 worth of coverage and a $500 copayment. Deductible. And so that was a good value in my book. So that was for a whole 12 months, or 364 days. I also had to pay for my hotel and I had a choice of hotels as published by the Thai embassy. And there were 78 or 80 some odd hotels on the list. They were all in Bangkok.
Right.
I sent that information to my wife. She picked one that was, I don't know, about, I don't remember how much it was. It was 32,000 baht for 2 weeks. And that included everything. It included your meals, it included your health checkups while you're in the hotel.
Right.
It included everything, your medical care. And so I had to show a confirmation letter from the hotel with my application.
Okay.
I had to send a copy of my visa with the application,
Okay.
which I had separately applied for just 4 days before.
Yeah.
So you had to, and I had to show proof of an airline reservation to get back to Thailand. When all those things, and I may be missing some, but it's all on their website. When all those things were fulfilled, they issued me a certificate of entry, which had a nice seal, and you print it out, and it looks cool. Which I had to keep with my paperwork. At some point, it got.
Of course, we always want that cool looking paperwork.
Yeah.
That makes us feel extra special,
Yeah.
like we're jumping through hoops.
Now that was just-
and
yeah.
it's, you know, you're important.
That was just to get the certificate, but that's not enough to get on the airplane.
Okay.
To get on the airplane, and now remember, I was getting on the regulated airplane or the chartered flight in Atlanta, and I was leaving from Tampa, but Tampa had nothing to do with Atlanta ticket-wise. And so, to check in Atlanta, I had to present a COVID-19 negative test result that was administered no more than 3 days before the departure date,
Right.
according to the website. And it had to be a specific
Specific type.
RT-PCR laboratory
Right.
test.
Specific type of test.
And there was nobody in Florida that was offering a PCR,
Really?
a RT-PCR test
PCR.
that would guarantee return of the results within 3 days. So I just,
Yeah, I think Dre had the same problem with that.
yeah, everybody had a problem. Everybody at check-in had that problem. Okay, so I got
Sorry, no guarantee for you, mister.
Yeah. So I got a very clear, very concise list from the Thai embassy that said what paperwork I needed to check in at the Korean Airlines desk. To follow up on what Scott said, yes, there's a lot of chaos in Thailand about what rules apply when.
Right.
But the chaos I experienced at the Korean Airlines desk wasn't the same kind of chaos, to be honest with you. Look, we're living in an era when things are just simply chaotic. I mean, there's nothing special about it.
That's a nice word.
There's
Chaotic is actually the nice way of putting it, because I honestly, for me, I don't think human beings are meant to live this way, and I think it's dragging a lot of people down
It is.
emotionally and you know.
You can take the George Burns approach to life and say, I don't give a fuck.
Exactly. Well, I've you know, the thing is, he lived to be what, 100 years old. He died at 100 years old, and I'll tell you what, I'm 58, and I now have that I don't give a fuck mentality.
Yeah. So at the check-in counter, their list of things that they had to check off their list was out of sync with the paperwork I had.
Oh.
So I had all the papers, but I had some packaged in a different manila envelope.
Uh-huh.
And the one that was missing from the list that the embassy gave me was the declaration form itself. Fortunately, I just had to open up another envelope and pull it out and carry it over.
Did you have to argue with the? I mean, did you have to go there like 4 hours early? Or
Well,
make sure you could get through.
I slept the night. At the
Right,
airport.
right.
I was the third person.
I mean, but how long did it take you to get through there?
Oh, 10 minutes.
That's it.
That's it, including baggage check-in. Everything.
So it's basically just very straightforward.
Yeah.
As long as you have everything,
Look,
if you have your ducks in a row,
You have your
it's
ducks
not
in a
all
row.
that difficult.
There were some inconsistencies. All I can say is have all of your papers in case the list that you're given is different than the list that the Korean Airlines or whatever airlines you've chosen
Right.
out of their regulated list tells you to have. But the Korean Air representatives were just as apologetic. They're saying we're just trying to do our jobs, and so
Yeah.
everybody in line had a COVID negative test that was issued 3 days before departure, but the test was administered 2 or 3 days before that.
Oh, so the results came.
Yeah. And the Korean Air representatives were waving it through.
Oh.
They were just saying, look, okay. Even though the website said clearly it had to be the date of administration.
Wow.
I have an email from the Thai embassy. I clarified the question. They said, yes, 3 days from the date was taken. So the Korean Air representatives were more than cooperative
Okay.
with getting everything through. Okay, the flight was maybe 2/3 full. There were
Uh-huh.
empty seats all over.
And where were the majority of the people from?
Most of them were Thai.
They were Thai.
The vast majority were Thai.
Okay.
Well, hold on. The Atlanta to Incheon, Korea was a mix because they had people going to the hub of Incheon. There were Koreans going back home. The actual chartered flight was from Korea to Thailand.
He says Qatar people didn't give a fuck.
That's fine. Where did he originated in Chicago?
Orlando to Chicago, and then I guess Chicago to Qatar, Qatar to Bangkok.
I checked those out, and the prices weren't that much different than what I've got. They were all
Yeah.
limited tickets.
Yeah.
And I was able to apply my mileage to my Delta mileage account, even though I was a pure Korean Air ticket.
Right. Yeah.
I was able
Well, aren't they part of the Star Alliance
They're
or
part
something
of
like
some
that?
alliance. I don't know
I forget what the.
one of the alliances. So I was able to earn the miles for that one-way ticket.
They're all a bunch of.
Yeah.
Listen.
So my COVID test,
They're all the same.
the other thing that I had to get was what Thais are calling a fit to fly certificate.
Right.
And that fit to fly certificate is separate from the COVID test.
Is that it right there?
That's it. Well,
That little-
there is no formal certificate.
Well, let me see. This is the one.
That's it.
Oh, it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3.
Well, the Thai website.
Oh, so the fit to. So wait a minute. When you get the fit to fly, you have to. That comes with the insurance is part of that. You're not going to get the fit to fly if you don't have your insurance.
No,
So this is your
two separate-
insurance.
No, that's separate.
Okay. Now this all is your fit to fly. It's your clinical report.
The fit to fly certificate
Uh-huh.
had to be issued within 3 days of departure,
Okay.
like the COVID-19 test, but they're separate.
Okay, so they're separate. The tests are separate, but the fit to fly has to be within 3 days also.
Yeah, the Thai embassy website in DC includes a list of places that they've pre-screened and approved to issue a medical certificate that says you're fit to fly.
Okay, so they've got his blood pressure, pulse, temperature, oxygen saturation.
Well, let me explain.
How long did this test take?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay, so
Cost me $80.
$80.
My COVID test was free.
Really?
Yeah, the COVID test was free. Well, here's what I did. The Thai embassy, on their list of approved facilities to get a certificate, included CVS pharmacy minute clinics. So I went to a minute clinic, and I searched. I found out there was a minute clinic that also issued an Abbott Labs rapid test, 20-minute test result. So I went to that when it was down in where was it?
He said,
It was in Newport Richey, Florida.
Ah.
So I went to Newport Richey. I got my COVID test done, got certified that I was clear of COVID, and then I went into the minute clinic and I got a certificate separately that said I'm fit to fly.
right.
And it's a practicing nurse that gave me the certificate.
Right.
And so
Yeah, it's just a quick.
she
Check
just-
your vitals
she,
and-
she knew what she was doing because they're doing this for people traveling all over the world. And she said, yep, what we do is we do a regular standard medical checkup. And she wrote a letter, and she gave me a Microsoft Word document, but she printed it out and signed it.
Yeah. Well, it's this guy. One of the guys in here, Charles, says, "Jesus Christ, they nickel and dime you all the way. Damn." And then this other guy, Longhorns, says more like silver dollars. You know, like. And this is a thing that they do charge you. Now, I gotta say, and I was saying to you earlier. Let me move this over here. I was saying earlier that I've been looking at some videos about Ecuador. I've been looking at more and more. I'm just curious, really. Who knows, you know, but I'm curious. And, you know, I looked at the expenses of living there, blah, blah, blah. But I also looked at getting a visa there. What is their visa process? And right now, what is it like to get in? It's not all that difficult to get in, from as I understand it, as long as you have a test and you're negative. But if you want to become a permanent resident there, the first thing you do is get a temporary residency. You pay $100 for the application. Once it's approved, you pay $450, and you're good there for 2 years. So you stay there for 2 years for $550, which, you know, works out to what, about $25 a month? Maybe Thailand needs to think about doing something like that. Not right at the moment, but, you know, work out some of the kinks, figure it out, and maybe they need to do something like that. But I think still, this is way too much to have to do to come in here. Now, he may disagree with me, and we'll get into that.
Well, let me finish my travel.
He's pondering.
Let me finish my travel. On my declaration form, I had to include what hotel I was staying at, and who's going to pick, whereas all that information is there. When I arrived in Thailand through the 28-hour transit, only one airplane was arriving at Suvarnabhumi Airport. Mind you, the Thai government through September and October, we're in October, only approved 15 flights a month from anywhere in the world to arrive at Suvarnabhumi Airport.
Yeah, so that tells you something.
15 flights a month. That's one every other day on average, okay? And so an airport that was designed to handle 1 million people a month is handling 15 airplanes a month, okay? And so we were the only airplane arrival through all the walkways and moving sidewalks and all that kind of stuff. You walk until you get near, someplace near, the immigration desk. And they stop you and they make you sit in chairs that are distanced 2 meters apart, and you have to reseat yourselves in those chairs. At which point, some university student probably came over and looked at my paperwork. They checked the paperwork to make sure you had everything. And then maybe 5 at a time from that seated position, you're invited to come forward and pass through where somebody checks your paperwork again, which 5 of you get in another line where they take your temperature and they check your paperwork again, and then you go to another line and you get a badge that says what hotel you're going to be staying in.
Oh.
So surprisingly, they actually had me and my registered hotel on record at the airport.
Yeah. So they had their act together.
They were very coordinated with the information, between the information I gave to the embassy and what they had on arrival.
Right. So that's good to hear.
Kudos.
Yeah.
Okay. And I had to wait until my time to get up from that position, and then maybe a group of 15 or 20 of us were escorted to the immigration line, at which point we went through the immigration line, at which point, it's pretty much standard at that point. We picked up our checked-in luggage. I picked up my checked-in luggage. I exited the customs area, and somebody intercepted me based on my badge, saying, "Hey, you're with my van going to this hotel."
Oh, okay.
And they escorted me to my van. My van.
That was inside the airport.
Inside,
Between the baggage and after you exited customs.
Exiting customs,
Okay.
where you might normally get picked up by a group tour guide.
Right.
The
Okay.
group tour approach was used by my badge.
Okay.
They identified me by my badge. And
Now, was it pretty empty? I mean, obviously, it must have been somewhat empty.
No, the airport was totally empty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we were the only ones there.
Yeah. I mean, I was wondering, like, how many people are they running through there at any one time? It can't be all that many.
One airplane load of people, and it was a It was
Yeah,
a
so how many did they put on an airplane? 400 or 500?
It was 777, 2/3 full. Do the math.
Okay, so yeah.
Maybe 150 people.
Wow.
Maybe 150 people
Yeah.
at a time. Now, they had more than 150 people managing the process for 150 people to get through the system. It is
Yeah,
not-
yeah.
I totally agree with you, Scott. It's not sustainable.
No, it's not.
It's not sustainable. Now,
But here's the thing. I think they're still trying to buy time. They are buying time
well, I think
for whatever reason, vaccine or
Yeah,
something changes.
I think that there's a group of people in Thailand who are just as happy if no foreigners arrive at all.
Okay, there it is, right there.
But
How
I'm
many
not
how
sure-
many years have you been in Thailand? Lived in Thailand technically?
Without the last 8 months, it's over 18 years.
Okay, so 18 years.
Mine is 8 months.
Okay, so both of us have been here a long time. We both feel the same way. A lot of people feel that way. That there are at least some Thais who, if foreigners don't come back, they don't really care. However,
They're just as happy if you fly over, drop your money, and keep
well,
flying.
that's been, as long as I've lived here, I've heard that. Hey, they'd be happy if you just flew over and dropped your bag of money and then left.
That's right.
I've heard that from almost the moment I got here.
Right. But you don't believe
Now-
it until you've been here a while.
I think a lot of people, they enjoy having foreigners here because it's something different, it's someone different. They interact with people other than their own. However, as you said, and as we're noting, there are still people here who are like, hey, if you don't come, oh well. But I think when it comes to the tourist industry, there's a lot of people who are like, hey, if this isn't going to work, then what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Where are we at right now? And I think, for the most part, the tourist industry, they want the foreigners to come back. And I was just reading yesterday about a guy who, he's saying, hey, listen, all these, the special tourist visa and all these plans they're coming up with, they're not going to work. They're not enough. And like I was talking to you earlier about they want to have a tracking device. They want minders. They want to have a special route for foreigners only. What do you think about that stuff? First of all, will it work? And second of all, do you think it's crazy, or do you think they might be onto something?
I'll take it slightly different.
Are you going to take the fifth?
No. I think that if the governing regime has their mindset on doing that, it will be done.
Mindset on doing it the way that they want to do it?
Yeah.
With the minders and all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how many people are going to come? And
Again, that goes back to those people with that mindset don't really want the other people.
okay. So then what's the point of it? It's all about face and a show.
Well,
Because what we were talking about earlier and what you had said, not me, of course, because I would never say these things about Thailand, but he was saying what they're hoping to do is get all the horny tourists, all the horny men to come back in, and they're willing to pay, will do anything to get back in. And I don't think that, as horny as men are, especially the younger men, and as bad as they might want to come in, I don't think that most of them they don't want to jump through the hoops. I think it's just too much,
I agree. I agree. But as far as the tracking goes, if the regime that's in power wants to do it, it'll be done. It doesn't matter whether it's successful. It doesn't matter how it negatively impacts. It will have a negative impact on the tourist market here in Thailand.
It already has, obviously.
And it will perpetuate the negative impact.
Yeah.
But
Now,
that's-
one thing that I had brought up, what I had brought up is that, they're going to have to find some other way. But I don't know, that they're going to be happy with that way.
Well,
They may think they are. Oh, we're going to do this. We'll just sell clothes. We're going to be selling clothes to all Thais, and you're not going to be getting top dollar anymore.
somewhere back in May or June, I saw some kind of a report article, and I don't remember where. I don't know if I can find it again. That Thailand's leadership was trying and considering positioning Thailand as a high-end tourist location.
Yeah, it's true.
Guaranteed of COVID-free tourism experience.
Right.
Okay. I don't know how that would work. But if
Do you
that's what
think? Let me ask you this: do you think people really want to travel internationally, especially like from the United States or the UK, where it's 8 to say 10, 12,000 miles away to get here? They want to travel halfway around the world because they think they won't get COVID when they can just stay home, and the chances of them getting COVID might be rather low. So I don't understand the mentality, but then it's not for me. You know, listen, I don't have to understand it. It doesn't matter. I'm not making the rules. But from an outsider's perspective, I do like to try to, you know, delve in and see, well, what's the point of this? How is it going to work? And honestly, I just don't know if it will.
A lot of people commit virtual suicide, and that may be what they're lining themselves up for. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I find it a little bit hard to believe that they would purposely just, you know, throw everybody under the bus, but then stranger things have happened. What I was saying is that they're just coming up with these ideas, and basically they're stating them publicly, and what they're doing is throwing them on the wall to see what will stick, and that's probably all they're really doing. And you know, what happens after this is anybody's guess.
We're still.
Ooh, something smells good.
We're still in an era of unknown, uncertainty.
Yeah.
And so you just roll with the punches and do what you can. That's what we're doing.
Well, you say that now because you in Pratet Thai. You stay Thailand now. You very happy, Mr. Tom. Mr. Tom very happy because now he's with his wife.
I would be just as
Back
happy
with his
if
wife.
my wife went to Florida. I would be just as happy.
Well, now, so if she wanted to go in there, how easy would it be for her to get into the United
Good
States?
question. I never looked into that. I just don't know.
Yeah. You know, because this is considered low risk.
Yeah.
America is considered high risk.
And America's a big place.
Yeah, but they still consider, if you're an American, it's high risk.
You know, I don't, you know, I mentioned it to you, Scott, earlier, that each embassy, for each Thai embassy in each different country, is going to have their own rules
Right.
for how they're managing the repatriation.
There we are again with those
for-
inconsistencies.
Well,
It is inconsistent.
it's consistently inconsistent, okay?
Okay, that's one way to put it.
It's just as inconsistent as U.S. immigration rules by country.
Well, yeah.
The immigration
True.
rules into the U.S. are different for Thais than they would be for Germans, okay?
Yeah, but those rules are generally the same across the board.
Not necessarily.
What I'm saying is that the rules from, thank you very much, Johnny, thank you. Happy birthday to me. What I'm saying is from embassy to embassy in the same country, the rules can be different. And that's kind of the thing. And from immigration,
From consulate to consulate.
from immigration department to immigration department inside of Thailand, they're getting different guidelines.
Have you ever had immigration experiences through the INS?
No, I have. Well, the only thing that I've had is with my wife to go, and that was very simple through the embassy. But other than that, no, because I don't need it.
I was married before to a foreigner, and the interaction with the immigration service back then was just as inconsistent and just as personally biased.
Yeah, I can
individual.
appreciate that, and you know, like you said, it's consistent inconsistency, and there is a reason for that. They give them some latitude in the way they implement the rules and to who they implement them for, and you know, they can use their own judgment on everything. Thank you very much, Johnny. Aussie 20, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Good luck for you all day, Mr. Johnny. Hello, Mr. Johnny. We got Mr. Johnny Siam. We got Mr. Johnny Bad Knee. Mr. Johnny Bad Knee, Old Man Bad Knee. That would be Mr. Jono. So, Jono's a very happy man now. But what about different? Yeah, and from person to person, that's another thing. Listen, think about how many times have you ever gone into the immigration department and you went into one lady and you're like, God, this lady's a total bitch. and she told you a set of rules, and you're like, wait a minute, it's not supposed to be that way. Then you go to somebody else the next year, it's complete, or the next time you go in, maybe the next day, and it's completely different. And they're like, so, and that's the same thing in the United States.
I agree. Here's the thing. Those painful experiences dealing with Thai immigration
Right.
are the reason I don't deal with Thai immigration anymore.
So you should, if you're willing, tell everybody what you do.
I follow the published, I follow the published rules and instructions on the Thai embassy website.
This is the DC website.
In Washington, D.C.
Right.
There's only one embassy per country. Thais, they're all in Washington, D.C. Everything else is a consulate, and they all are technically subordinate to the rules of the embassy. And I follow the rules based on where I live. My home in Florida is in Florida, in the U.S. Floridians are supposed to send their visa applications to the embassy in Washington, D.C. If I lived in Boston, I would send my visa application to the Thai consulate in Boston. And so they're clearly published where you're supposed to send your visa application. I follow the rules and I apply for a 1-year multiple entry visa.
Okay.
The 1-year multiple entry visa costs $200 US.
I'm gonna go over there and get a little something, and you continue to talk.
Yeah. So for that $200 US, I get a visa that allows me to enter Thailand as many times as I want within a 1-year period. The limitation is, for each entry, I'm allowed to stay in Thailand no more than 90 days. So what I do is I get my visa from the embassy, I travel to Thailand, I get stamped into the country with a 90-day stamp. Somewhere around 80 days or so, my wife and I will take a side trip and we'll go to Laos, or we'll go to Cambodia, or we'll go to Singapore for the weekend, and then we will fly back to Thailand and I get re-stamped into the country. And I will do that maybe 2 times during my stay here, so I get my first 90 days, leave and come back another 90 days, leave and come back another 90 days, and then at that time I go back to Florida and I spend 2 or 3 months in Florida. I apply for a new Thai visa for the next year, and I restart the whole cycle over again. And I never have to deal with the long stay stamps, the long stay regulations for people staying in Thailand more than 90 days. So that's, I'm alone here. I don't know what to do from now on. I can't see what you guys are typing. So the difference is multiple entry, I get a spouse visa, multiple entry spouse visa, non-immigrant, that allows me to come and go as many times as I want within a year. And I don't deal with the 1-year extension stay in the country anymore. I just don't have that experience anymore. I did it for 12, 15 years, and I just don't want to do it anymore. So, let's see, what else is that? Over there doing his thing. Going to be quiet and didn't abandon us. Here, he's coming back. See, this is why I'm not a host of one of these things. Scott's much better than I am. I'm speechless, so I'm gonna. There you go.
I thought you would never run out of things to talk about.
Well, I did.
If you see a hot girl, just point it that way. That's all they care about. They don't care about some freaking 58-year-old man.
That's true.
He's trying to be informative and insightful and enlightening and engaging and funny and all these good things. All they care about, you know what it is? Tits and ass, tits and ass, tits and ass. That's what it's all about. All right, so let me see here. So, does anybody have any questions, comments? Because you got the guy here who came through. We got Dre in the chat right now, so you might as well ask if ye have questions. You have happy birthday, too much. Well, I don't know, that would be nice. I'm happy, but Yeah, how was the food at your hotel, Tom?
Thai, average Thai.
So you didn't have a choice of having Western food?
No, I went to a very Thai hotel. I'm very comfortable with Thai environment. So the what was it,
Yeah.
32,000 baht got me a Thai hotel with Thai meals. I got a choice of 3 breakfast, 3 lunch, and 3 meals, 3 dinners from which I had to choose. And one
Right.
of those 3 in each category was vegetarian. And it was a lot of gang pilan kai, green curry, a lot of red curry, a lot of...
Okay, the other guy says, mine sucked. The food tasted like nothing. I ordered 7-Eleven a lot.
I did not order any snacks the whole time I was there, so I didn't even eat all my rice.
Mr. Longhorns would like to know how long you've been working on that mustache.
I just trimmed it yesterday.
Yeah, but how long did it take you to get it nice and full? Like,
Oh.
how long did it take for the porn star mustache to come in?
It's cut way back from the porn star that it was 3 days ago. Way back. No, I had a mustache for 20 years, and I hadn't had it for a long time. And I just decided since I was in Florida, I'd grow it back. So it probably took me 5 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks for it to come in full.
And is it coming off?
Possibly.
Or is the wife going to be, does she care?
We'll see. She's not excited about it.
That's how almost every Thai that I've ever met is about mustaches and beards. Because they're so sensitive, you know. All right, let me see here. What is this? Thank you to whoever. Oh, thank you, Mr. Richard. Good luck for you on this wonderful, magical birthday of moi. Thank you. Let's see here. How much freedom did you have at the hotel? None.
It varied throughout the time I was there. The first 3 days, none. I was in my room for 3 days. On the third day, they tested me for COVID. So my 32,000 baht included the COVID tests. So I didn't have to pay for those extra.
Right, but
So, on the 4th day, I got my COVID-free test. My COVID result was negative. I got a yellow badge. I was allowed to roam the halls along a yellow path that they had painted on the floor. Okay, which meant I could go down to the exercise room.
all right. He's saying Dre is saying he was allowed to go to the roof for some air.
They had an exercise room. Some of the equipment they moved outside, and the yellow path led to the outside exercise.
He had a yellow band or something like
I had
that.
a badge that hung around my neck.
Okay.
And then I spent another, I don't know, 5-6 days. They tested me a second time for COVID-19. The second COVID-free test the next day. I replaced my yellow for a green badge, and the green badge allowed me to go along a different path. I was allowed to go into the air-conditioned exercise room.
Wow.
And so there wasn't much freedom.
You're in the big time.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't do that very much. I was just as happy staying in my room farting. You know.
Huh?
So I was just as happy staying in my room farting.
Okay.
Farting in my room.
This is Mr. Tom, and one of the guys wants to know, was it a commercial flight? Now, it was commercial in the sense that it was through a commercial airline, but it was a chartered flight from the Thai government.
Well, it was a connection. The original flight from Atlanta to Incheon, Korea was open to anybody. Okay?
Right.
Now, I could only, because of the Thai government rules, and because of my originating my flight in the U.S., I had to go from, I had my choice. On Delta, I could fly out of Atlanta or Chicago or Detroit or LA or I forget. I could originate my flight, but they would converge in Incheon. From Incheon to Bangkok was a chartered flight. The only people allowed on that flight were the people that the Thai government had allowed on.
Right.
But I was pre-screened when boarding in Atlanta. Okay. I even checked into using my existing the one-way return ticket that I had. I looked into going from Tampa to Atlanta to Incheon, and then picking up the chartered flight in Incheon separately and paying for that separately.
And they wouldn't let you?
They wouldn't let me do that, partly because...
No, because they don't know where you are and what you're doing and who you're coming in contact with.
To do that, I would have had to have my COVID-free test administered in Korea.
Korea, yeah.
Okay? So they're not unreasonable. They're just awkward and inconvenient. I must admit, I was totally run by the Korean travel agent in Philadelphia. They were just totally rude. they were just rude. And so I was happy to get through whatever I had to get through with them and just move on.
So now, what do you think is going to happen about this virus? And do you think that like the United States is going to start allowing more places to open up? And do you think Thailand will open up? What do you think is the next step? Because now you've been out and you've seen it. I've been all over Thailand since this happened. And I can tell you that there are a lot of places and a lot of people who they are walking around, they have no mask on.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting infected, and if they are, they don't know about it. You know, now maybe it's because Thailand, not have. Because I went to many cities, I mean, probably 4 or 5 cities, where I went to 4 or 5
There's
cities.
some eye candy walking by there.
Yeah, well, hey, God forbid you concentrate on a stream instead of a beautiful girl walking by.
I said beautiful, I said eye candy.
Yeah, whatever. But there were numerous places where I went. Nakhon Phanom, Bangkok, Masai, a couple others, where they said, no have COVID here. You know, like if you're in Bangkok, Bangkok, no have COVID. I'm like, okay, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't have a single case here. But to say that every single place doesn't have a case, I just think about all the asymptomatic people. Mm-hmm. And I think that, at this point, with the percentage being as low as it is of people who are passing away, especially those people who are not high risk for contracting it and passing away, I think what they're doing is a bit extreme, considering what I've been saying is there's a tipping point. They've already reached that tipping point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
At some point, whether, I would say in the next 6 months, they're going to need to do something here and in the United States, and even sooner in the United States. It's just, I'm just guesstimating, but...
If you guys look on the map, I was staying in a rural county, about 80 miles north of Tampa on the Gulf Coast, named Homosassa. I guess it's an Indian name. But Homosassa is the county is Citrus County, 175,000 people.
Okay.
And nobody there worries about the virus. They don't give a shit. I mean, yes, there's some things. You go to the hospital and they're gonna take your temperature.
Now, when you went into a 7-Eleven,
yeah.
would they wear masks?
No.
Really?
No.
Wow. What about to a grocery store?
Publix grocery store, Winn-Dixie grocery store.
Wow, I used to work for Winn-Dixie.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. They're still in business.
They have signs that say masks required, but if you forget and you walk in without it, nobody pounces on you and calls you to go.
Gives you a beating.
Nobody gives you grief.
Wow.
I was in one time and I forgot mine. The lady went back to behind the counter and said, "Here you go. Can you take this?" I said, "Sure." And I took the mask that
Yeah, see,
they gave me.
to me, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
It's acceptable to walk around in a neighborhood and there's nobody there and you're not walking with anybody, nobody's in your vicinity, and you don't have a mask on. How are you going to contract that? What is the chance of contracting the virus?
During the height of the initial 2-week lockdown, back in, what was that, March? When President Trump announced 2 weeks, first tranche of 2 weeks, I'd go to, I'd take my mother and we'd go to KFC and get some takeout. We'd go drive down by the river, find a boat.
Down by the river?
Down by the riverside. We're not that far from the Suwannee River. It's only 25 miles.
I was thinking of, what's his name, Chris Farley?
Yeah. Yeah, but
Living in a van down by the river.
We'd go down to a river. We'd go down to the Gulf Coast marshes, find a boat launch where they had a picnic table. We did a picnic lunch and watched people launch their
And people
boats.
weren't wearing masks.
Hell no. No, they were outside.
Well, maybe, that you can look at it in 2 ways. it could be a reason why there's a lot of people that have the COVID in the United States. Or it just could be that, I don't know at this point.
Citrus County had 3,000 cases and 70 deaths. Okay.
So they had more deaths than Thailand.
Yeah.
If you think about it that way.
When you think of, and I think about 10 of those deaths happened in the last couple of weeks.
And I wonder, were those elderly?
Oh, almost all of them were. Almost all the 70.
Well, we're almost there, so
Yeah.
we're almost among the elderly.
You ask what I think is going to happen. I get really bored with the way the U.S. media, and I don't care whether it's CNN or Fox, describe there's a spike. It ain't a spike. I call it a bounce. What we're having and what we're experiencing are bounces off of a high. If you hold a ball 6 feet above the ground and drop it, each successive bounce is going to be less high,
right.
but it's going to be bouncing. That's what we're having. We're having each successive, what they call spike. I hate that word. What we're seeing is a bounce, but each successive bounce is less high. And so eventually, this is all going to equalize. We're going to reach an equilibrium, and we're just not at equilibrium yet. That's as simple as that.
Well,
I mean, I went out of my townhouse this morning, grabbed a motorcycle taxi. The same guy, he has a CB frame. Oh, did you miss me, sir? Oh. I said, did you miss me? He said, nah, I didn't miss you. Oh, yes, I did, Jacker. Yes, I missed you. All in.
Thank you, Johnny.
And so, he didn't have a mask. Well, he had his motorcycle taxi mask on, which is not a COVID mask. It's
well,
a
my
normal thing.
motorcycle guy wears this mask, down here, like that.
Yeah.
And that's how they all are. The only reason they have that mask is in case they have to go into 7-Eleven or some little. And I'm telling you, on my street where I live, everybody walks down the street. They don't have a mask on. You want to go into a little Quidtio shop or a little market or something like that. Nobody's wearing a mask anymore.
I think what I've observed in the last few hours and when I was in the hotel for 2 weeks, people have masks. They wear them when they think that they're going to be close to people, and otherwise they just take them off and have them ready. And I think it's prudent. It's just prudent.
Yeah. So what is the solution here then?
In Thailand?
Yeah. What do you think is a viable solution?
I stopped having a viable solution for Thailand a long time ago.
I'm talking about.
Thailand's a great place if I work with the Thai people.
I'm talking about the tourists. Well, for me, if it wasn't for the Thai government, I think it would be much nicer. But there's always going to be somebody in charge.
I'm married to a Thai woman, and I love my Thai woman, and my Thai wife, and I love my Thai family. But to be quite honest with you, Thailand is not worth the trouble that the government has created for all of human beings.
Yeah.
That goes back to before COVID, before I left in February.
Well,
January, December, January.
Jana, one of the longtime viewers, and he lives in Thailand now. He's lived here for about a little more than a year now. He has a statement: the juice is not worth the squeeze. And that's pretty much how it is. And one thing that people don't think about is that this is a cycle. And the cycle of Thailand, in the beginning, it was, oh, wow, we're open now. Everybody's coming in. Oh, look at this wonderful place. And, wow, look at these women. Oh, my God. They're thinking about all these beautiful places and all these things. And slowly but surely, it's morphed into something different. Over the years, it's changed, as is inevitable. And now, for many people, the juice is not worth the squeeze anymore, and it's not the same place that it was when people were so enamored with this country. There are still many reasons to like this place and to enjoy your time here. There's a lot of great things about this place, but you get to a point where if it's a pain in the ass, you just throw your hands up and go, hey, what's the answer?
I do not endorse Thailand as a place for foreigners to come to vacation or for retirement.
He stole that from Timothy Oliphant in the movie I can't remember with Alicia Cuthbert. What are you talking about?
I don't know.
He stole what? Who stole? Me or you?
Me
Or
Scott
Tom?
or Tom. Stole what? I never heard the movie.
Yeah, I don't even know what he's talking about. I like Alicia Cuthbert, or I used to like her. Let me see what this last comment says. How are the student protests going in Bangkok? Very little press about it in Europe. Oh, is that where he stole it from? Jono stole the juice is not worth to squeeze.
Oh, okay.
The student protests, well, I did see that there was a bit of trouble yesterday where the protesters were pushing the police, and the police basically just gave up. They had said there was going to be, first they said there was going to be 3,000 police, then they said there was going to be 14,000. Apparently there wasn't 14,000, and that was one of the reasons I didn't want to go to Khao San Road yesterday, which I had contemplated. At first they said I'm going to go next week, and I thought, just go this week. And once I found out that the protests were going to be right down the street, I went, no dice. It's going to be too much of a pain. And so far, the 14th, the 13th and 14th they've had problems. They've had arrests. They've had people shoving people, and that the usual without the extreme violence. But yeah, it's
Let me.
it's getting problematic.
I don't know how many people are. I guess many of the people on your feed here are Americans. Many maybe Europeans.
There's Americans, Australians, and some Europeans here and there, Brits, and Irish, Scottish.
For those who are aware, nobody's using the term in the States, but I call it, I'm an old-fashioned guy, I guess. We used to call it civil unrest.
Well, yeah, I use it.
We have civil unrest in the States. There's civil unrest in some places in Europe and Australia.
Thank you, Kawasaki. Thank you very much. Good luck for all of you. Good luck for you, Chokdi.
I cannot endorse the civil unrest in those cases, but honestly, I do understand and favor the civil unrest here in Thailand. And that's all I can say, otherwise I'll end up in jail.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, speaking of that, now have you heard about the tourist who wrote the bad review and all that?
Yeah.
Okay, now, the fact that he is, he's been arrested several times apparently, and he's had some problems and all this, that irregardless of that, something else that I saw with regards to Ecuador is that if you write a bad review, you can be sued. Now, here's the caveat. Here, it's a little different. In Ecuador, first, the claim that you make has to be untrue, okay? If you make a claim that is untrue, then the hotel decides to sue you. Okay, they can do that and they can win. What is it, slander or defamation? Which one? Defamation is written, I believe.
Slander or libel. I think libel
Yeah,
is-
I always get them mixed up. But
libel is written, but I'm not sure.
anyway, yeah, it has to be untrue what the person wrote. If I wrote a review about some Ecuadorian hotel and it was completely false, and they wanted to come after me, first they'd have to show that it was completely untrue. It was a false review or whatever it might be. And second, that it harmed their business financially. Now, that's a little bit different from here. So that goes to show you, I'm not all for what goes on here, or, in many cases. There's a lot of things that I'm not for, I don't agree with. It's their country, though, and I don't have a say. So while I can think about something, and I can have my opinion about it, it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. So that's why you keep your nose clean. And that's one reason, whether you're a journalist or a photographer or whatever, you stay out of their business as much as possible. And that'll keep you out of jail. I mean, right? That'll keep you out of jail. Keep your nose clean, low profile, fairly low profile.
Don't get outwardly hostile like I've done a few times, or you've done a few times.
Have I? I've never.
No.
Never. I've never done that. Well, all right.
I've been hauled to the police station twice. in 18 years?
I've been hauled to the police station 3 times.
Yeah, in 20 some odd years.
Yeah, 20, going on 26.
Okay, so I got 6 more years to do one more time.
Yeah. The one time was, well, and one time I almost got myself in trouble for defamation
Yeah.
when I was writing. So,
That's liable. I just looked it up.
oh, it isn't?
In writing, it's liable. In defamation, it says there's 2 categories: liable and slander. Liable is written.
Slanderous
verbal.
defamation is, yeah, okay.
They're both defamation.
Right, right. But one is slander, the other is libel. I got it, I think. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Look, Thailand is not a bad place to be.
it's a great place to visit.
Yeah.
It's a great place to be a tourist. And it's a good place to live. It's not a terrible place, but you need to be prepared.
I've lived in
Prepared emotionally and financially to and especially now an increasing amount of hoop jumping. You know.
I've lived in and worked in and traveled through 57 countries. I lived in Japan for 2 years. I lived in Tehran, Iran for 4 years. I've lived in Thailand 18 years. Of all the places that I've been, Thailand's where I just signed for 18 years.
Yeah.
You know, and so what's going to happen in the future? I think that Thailand will go through a period of dearth of tourists.
Right.
And those who are, you know, I don't know, sexpats and sex tourists who want that kind of thing will find their market in Cambodia.
That's right.
And other places. And when Thailand see, and when
It's not like they're not, you know, hey, listen, there's women everywhere.
There's competition. I've had ties. Okay, I'll go there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would not be surprised. I would be surprised that Scott has not had this experience, where Thais have asked me, "Why do you fill on men? All like dark women."
They always say that.
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
Go ahead.
One second here. Thank you very much, Lee. Appreciate that. Is that Mama calling? Mama's giving him a call.
Hey babe, what's up?
Hey, babe. Choke D to you, Mr. Lee, and thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay. Yep, I'm still with Scott. Okay.
My name's Nancy.
Have a good presentation. Okay. Hey, Mike. Okay. Let me know. Okay. Bye.
You need to tell her the truth. My name is Nancy.
Pelosi?
Where are you from in the States originally? I forget.
I was born in D.C., raised in the Maryland suburbs.
Okay. I lived in Maryland for 2 years.
Yeah.
My father was in Andrews Air Force Base.
I never lived in D.C. at that age. My mom's doctor practiced in a hospital in D.C., but they were Maryland residents, so she went across to give birth in a D.C. hospital and then went home to Maryland. No, but the Thais will often say, why do European, Western, Caucasian men all like dark-skinned women?
Well, they don't all.
No,
That's
no.
the thing.
That's
I like all women.
That's what Thais will ask us.
Yes, they do.
Okay. As a matter of fact, when I started my relationship with my wife, it was not romantic, and when the relationship turned towards a romantic bent, my wife was surprised that I liked her because she's not dark skinned. She's very light-skinned woman. Okay. And what I tell Thais is when you're in Thailand and you see men liking dark-skinned women, it's because when you go to a garbage dump, you find garbage in the garbage dump. You got.
Ooh, that's harsh.
That sounds bad.
That's really harsh. That's too much,
Well,
actually.
No. What I mean by that.
Continue. I'll let you finish.
But what I mean by that is, if a Western man wants to spend his recreational time with a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white
He wouldn't come
woman,
here.
he just wouldn't come here. Okay? He goes someplace else, not here.
Right.
Okay? And so you.
Let me hear you get out of this one.
By virtue of where you are, you find what you get. Okay?
Well, yeah, that's true.
By virtue of being in the garbage dump, you find garbage. I'm not saying that, but by virtue of being anywhere where you are, that's what you get.
Okay. Let me counter that
Okay.
I'm going to counter that and get a little more specific
Okay.
because I have an idea what he's saying. And here's the deal. A lot of men, this is what I say to them. A lot of men who come to Thailand, who are tourists, they come for whatever reason. If they find the red light districts and they're hanging out in the red light districts, they probably do not speak any Thai. So now they're in the red light districts, they're around the red light districts, and guess what? The girls there, they speak a little bit of English, they show them around a little bit, they show them the ropes. The guy starts to, get involved with them or involved with the women there. He gets involved in the scene for a while. Meantime, his Thai is still not good enough to go and meet some regular Thai girl. Maybe to get lucky and meet some girl who speaks good English and she's dark-skinned or whatever. But, they don't usually have the language skills to just go out into some, let's say Chayapum, or like Suratani in the city or something, some place where maybe there's going to be some dark-skinned people who are regular people. They're not in a bar or anything like that, and they're normal people just like any other type, but they just happen to be dark-skinned. Most people who come here don't speak the language well enough to be landed some, beautiful girl with dark skin. So they hook up with some girl in the bar. The girls from the bars are predominantly from Isan, and the Isan girls tend to be dark-skinned. That's how I would get out of it, okay? Because to me, that's the truth.
It's a lot of words to say that there are a lot of dark-skinned women, or mostly, I would say,
that are working in the bar scene.
Who work in the
That's
bar
because
scene.
they're from Isan.
And so, therefore, a man who comes here for that market finds dark-skinned women where he is. It's a function of
If they are somebody who is working, let's say that they're working in a law firm, doing whatever they're doing. They're the managing director or something like that. They're working in a law firm. There are going to be educated women there. Now, they may be light-skinned or they may be reddish brown, say from some other area of Isan, like Boridam or something like that. Or they might be from the south, like my wife's from the south. They may be dark-skinned, they might be light-skinned, but they're educated, they've got a good job. I wouldn't call them garbage. I think that was a little bit strong. Now,
I wasn't calling the women garbage. I wasn't intending to say that. I said, if you're in a garbage dump, you find garbage in a garbage dump. If you're in a certain place, wherever you are, you find what's there.
Well, you might find some gems in the garbage dump. You never know.
It's possible.
Listen.
There is that needle in the haystack.
And I gotta say that, I used to go to, not the best metaphor. I used to go to the beer garden over there on Soy 7 and on Sukhumvit Road. And let me tell you, there were some real old ladies, old hags. They'd be in there and they'd be like, "Hi, honey, you wanna go with me?" And it was like, "Huh? You fucking scare me, honey. I don't want to, I don't want to talk to you. I'm sorry, I'll talk to you, but like, don't even think about me touching your body, honey."
Remember, like, you never saw Choo-Choo?
No.
Okay,
But then, for all those kind of women that you see, there might be a very attractive young girl there that's there visiting her friend, and maybe she's interested in getting involved in the scene or whatever it might be. So every once in a while you find something that's a little bit better. But I understand what he's saying is that if you put yourself out there and you're not in the right place, you might end up with garbage.
If a guy is intentionally looking for spending money to rent a woman's time, and you like blonde-haired, blue-eyed women, you're not going to come to Thailand. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I don't know where they would go. Ukraine? I don't know.
This shoulder. It's the right shoulder. But your left, I guess.
What's that?
It doesn't matter. What do most people think about all the time that are on my stream? They think about two things.
Women.
Women and bathroom habits.
Bathroom habits?
Yes. That's about it. That's the extent of our male intelligence.
I knew I got to be an old man when I started to take Metamucil.
I don't take Metamucil. Now, I have to say one thing. You know, when you say, you know, like if somebody asks, hey, why do all foreigners like dark skin women? Listen, I've been out with dark skinned women, light skinned women, medium colored skin. For me, it doesn't matter because, you know, I mean, don't ask me to get graphic or crude.
Yeah.
But, you know, when it all comes down to it, like I did say to a taxi driver one time who was asking that question, I said, you know, listen, you know, I was thinking about this because he was telling me, oh, he only wants light-skinned girls. And I'm like, you know what? This guy, you put him in a room that's dimly lit with some dark-skinned girl with a beautiful body, and she's laying there with that come-hither look in her face, on her face. This guy is not going to say, oh, no, I don't want any of that. No, I'm sorry. She's too dark-skinned. I want the white-skinned Thai girl. You know, she's got to be like from China. You know, her background is Chinese. No, they're not going to say that. And it comes from their being dark-skinned relating to working the fields. And they don't want to be related to being a poor farmer. Which, you know, what's wrong with being a farmer? Honestly, when you think about it, listen, my parents taught me something a long time ago. As long as you're doing an honest day's work, you know, you're not out, you know, robbing a bank or something like that. You're doing an honest day's work. What does it matter what you're doing? Be happy. You're not doing something illegal that's against, you know, what society allows. You're not going to end up in jail because of it. So,
you know, you kick me back. My mom used to say the same thing. Don't care if you're a ditch digger, as long as you're happy with what you're doing.
Exactly.
And guess what?
Well, but I don't want to be a ditch digger, and I wouldn't be happy.
You know.
How many Thais are naturally white-skinned? There are some, and there are some very good-looking ones.
Let's put it this way.
But then there's some ugly ones too.
17 to 20% of the Thai population is ethnic Chinese.
Right.
Okay. Of the ethnic Chinese, a lot of them are very white-skinned.
However, we say white-skinned, it's more of a light yellow. It's not white as in like white boy.
But no, some of them can be pure white. And
Some of them.
they're pasty white.
But there are some that are pasty white and it's very unattractive.
To me.
Some of them are actually attractive, but there are some that you're like, ah.
It just looks unhealthy.
And, you know, the Thai guys go nuts over it.
Yeah.
And okay, so good for them.
Yeah.
You know.
You're not gonna get any
Listen, let me tell you something. You put me in Sweden and you got some blonde hair, blue-eyed girl and she's got light skin and she's, you know, attractive to me. Doesn't matter.
No.
I don't care.
What I've heard, Cyprus beaches is where all the Swedish women go.
Whatever. I don't care. I understand.
Cyprus beaches.
I've met a fair number of Swedish women in my life in various places of the world, but I've never been to Cyprus. But the point is that, you know, it's about location.
Yeah.
You're there long enough and you're a guy, you might partake in the fruits of femininity.
Find a way.
You're going to partake in the fruits of femininity. Yeah. All right, well, Mr. Tom, thank you very much for joining me. Does anybody have any further questions? And we're not going to ask Tom of his bathroom habits or anything like that. We don't need to know these things.
Do you fold or wand the toilet paper to wipe your ass?
I don't use toilet paper. Is that a trick question?
No, that was a question that we used to have in my old job in the government. You guys ask stupid questions.
Johnny says, thank you for your input. Listen, I think that for me, I don't like the wadding. Never liked the wadding.
Me neither, but there are guys who used to...
Thank you, Pattaya Bob. Hope you're well over there in Pattaya. Thank you very much. Happy birthday for you. Happy day, I man. What is this? Happy birthday, man. Thank you. Yeah, and she's with a guy also. They're like, oh my God, that girl's very lovely. Thank you very much there, Patia Bob. Thank you. Good luck for you all the very day, all today. I'm sure somebody love you too much. Why do I do that? I can't keep doing it. Charles, thanks once again, man. You know, speak like a pigeon English Thai. Where you go? How you go? No, it's not that. It's that he's farther away, and you know, because I have to charge this, the phone goes dead after a while. I just didn't bring the mic. I could have brought the mic. We have a mic. I have a mic that you plug in, and it goes to both of us. I could have brought that, and I just forgot it. It shows you my lack of professionalism. But I think that's
the mic is ported on your side of the phone, so I'm talking through the phone to get the mic.
Right. So like that's why if I push it over here, it's a little easier because it is closer, but it's still on the other side. But what was I talking about now? I forgot already.
I don't know.
He's talking about the one right over here. And we put the ant right here.
Over.
Yes.
She's tall.
Can you both be on the same side of the table?
Next time. We're not that close buds, by the way.
No offense to Tom, but I don't really. I prefer to sit across from him, not next to him.
I
You know.
understand.
Next thing you know, he might like grab my hand and start holding my
I
hand.
feel the same way.
Yeah. Well, now Tom was a guy who introduced me to Frank,
Oh,
Mr. Frank.
my friend Frank.
Who was the guy who I talk about sometimes who passed away from cancer. And
He and I were friends for 12 years.
yeah, that was a bit of an ordeal to see and to go through. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, it's your wife's mother has, what is it, pancreatic cancer?
Pancreatic cancer was diagnosed 6 months ago as stage 3, so it's progressed since then. She's had chemotherapy, but
And how does she feel on a day-to-day basis?
ups and downs.
I mean, what is the feeling she gets? Just sick to her stomach, or?
She hasn't had a lot of medical, I guess.
I mean, how does she know she has cancer?
Well, with chemotherapy.
Well,
you
no, but
often hear
how
about
does she
being sick
even?
and stuff,
No,
but
I know about that, but how did she even feel like, oh, something's wrong with me?
There were problems in her abdomen. They went in. They found, they did a CT scan or something, and they found stuff then. They did emergency surgery and patched her back up, and then they did all of it. Yeah, she had cancer. So,
Yeah, wow.
I don't know. She has good days, she has bad days. I mean, anybody who's familiar with progress and how
Yeah.
cancer goes. I mean, but she's doing chemotherapy, and I don't, look, pancreatic cancer is something that it progresses to your gallbladder, it progresses all over the place, and there's no cure for it.
Yeah,
You either extend it with quality of life or you don't. And
yeah.
I don't know how long she'll last, but she's been hanging in there for 6 months. And
She still has her gallbladder?
no. Mostly all that stuff is taken out.
Yeah, they took mine out, obviously. I was thinking about it the other day because I was like, man, every once in a while I get a feeling, like, the same place when I had my bile duct problem. I get this feeling, and it's because of the types of food I eat.
Yeah.
So I have to really, now I'm starting to see that I need to watch the food that I eat even more so than I thought,
She's getting skinnier every day. And so there's only one probable outcome. It's just a question of
Right.
Is it
Now,
another
where does she live compared to you guys?
north of Thailand?
Oh, so who does she live with?
She's got 3 kids. My wife has a brother and sister. The sister came to Bangkok for a while. She returned up there.
Okay.
And so she was living on, her mother-in-law was living on her own in a house that her son built, my brother-in-law built. But when she couldn't take care of herself, well, she's now moved in with her youngest daughter. But she's getting skinnier. Emotionally, she goes up and down. So we'll see. I wouldn't give her much more than 6 more months, but I'm hoping.
Your wife should spend, as much time as she can with her,
Yeah, she got tired of driving. She's happy that I'm here so I can drive back and forth for her.
Yeah.
I'll be her chauffeur. And that's fine with me.
Yeah.
That's fine with me.
Well, that's good. All right. Well, listen. Once again, thank you very much. I hope that everybody got some information out of this stream. I know sometimes I just do a little, tap dance and talk and BS. But today I think was a, enlightening, informative stream, and that was my goal. So thank you very much for joining. I know Tom's a very busy man.
Well, I'm looking at something here. But
No, but he's always got something. He's like me, we it's not like we have to go to a job, but we still are busy. We got stuff to do. And so, I promised him it would only be a 90-minute stream. So now he's saying he doesn't care.
I didn't.
So thank you very much. And let's hope that things get better before they get worse. And I guess what's next? I don't know what's next, but I will be going down to Khao San Road and Soi Ram Tree and that whole area, the Golden Mount and everything. I will be going down there. I don't know if I'm going to go Sunday. I may go during the middle of the week. I don't know. I never know, I got to get a feel for it. It's got to be I need to have feeling too much. What is this? I can't see what that is. I got to put my glasses on.
Damn glasses on.
You got the same kind of glasses as me, pretty much.
Yeah, they're cheap.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Because, the way I am, I lose them all the time. Like for you, not your guess. Okay, well, thank you. Cheers, guys. Can't hear much. Yeah, I'm going to have to bring the microphone in the next time. Anyway, thank you again. And I guess that's all we got. So until next time, I'm Scott, and this is Mita Tom. I don't know. Why have I started doing that lately? Here we go. Look.
I don't know.
Oh, cannot go inside? Why cannot go? I want to go shopping. Every single stream, I have to say, every single stream, there's at least 2 or 3 people that try to get out at 10 o'clock, 10:30, whenever. And there's usually 1 or 2 people that somehow manage to get in, and then they want to get into the mall, or into the Starbucks, and they can't. Mr. Janara say, I like chopping too much. I like chopping too much. I should do like a rap song where it's all in pidgin English, Thai, Tinglish. Oh, what the cup? I love you too much. I'd never forgive myself. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. See you later, Tom. See you later, everybody. Thank you. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you're new, please subscribe. What else? Please. Oh, wow. Thank you very much. Big shout out to Mr. Tom. Mr. Everybody here. Big shout out to you guys. It's my birthday. I guess I should be happier than usual, and I am very happy today. I'm alive. I made it to 58. I didn't think I would make it until I was 30, to be completely honest. There was a time I didn't think I would make it.
I had a friend who once said if I'd known I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of my body.
Yeah, well, that too. I probably would have saved more money too. I thought I'll be gone by the time I'm 30. I ain't going to last. Then I was like, well, I'll be lucky to make it to 40. Anyway, and by the way, if you're down in the Newport Beach area, go over to Jack's Surfboard on Avocado Avenue, and it's Inspire Pop-Up Gallery. My photos are being shown there, and yes, I will. My photos are being shown there, and go check it out. I got all my photos in a gallery right now, and actually they're going to a second gallery. Somebody who owns a gallery came to my pal there and said, hey, I want to put some of these photos in my gallery. Can I do so? So they're going to be in another gallery. So I'm stoked about that. So hopefully good things are happening. No, it's in California, Southern California. So yeah, and listen, the more money I make from those, the more traveling I shall do, and the more places I will bring you. So until next time, choke D, jerk and mine, all that good stuff, and Wati Cup. I'll talk to you guys later. All right? See you later. Thank you.